Hey, Milky here, back again with another deck highlight video for MarvelSNAP. Today we have Wongoing, and this deck has been in the game forever. It really rose to prominence early on and has been super consistent since. It's been able to ride the waves of shifting metas and card buffs and changes, but it's remained really consistent throughout. It was actually one of the first decks which helped me climb to Infinite when I entered Pooled 3, so it's been really strong for me ever since I started playing it. So this deck really revolves around two key cards, one of them being Wong, which has an ongoing ability that says, on reveal abilities happen twice at this location. The other key card in the deck is Spectrum, and Spectrum actually got a recent buff, moving her up to a 6/5 from a 6/4, and her on reveal ability is give all your ongoing cards +2. So pairing those two together, you can get some really strong board-wide buffs for all of your ongoing cards. There are also other really helpful cards in this deck which can help you get the most out of this combo, as well as a really good spread of ongoing cards which you're going to be able to play out throughout the game. So with that being said, let's get into the rest of the deck breakdown and look at some of these key pieces. So we have some excellent ongoing filler cards in this deck, like Ant-Man and Ebony Maw. They're going to have that ongoing effect. They're also going to bring some solid power to the table, but they're going to really be able to double down on that buff from Spectrum that you're hoping to play later on in the game. We also have Mojo, and Mojo is a really good card when you're looking to fill up locations. It can also stop your opponent wanting to play into that location anymore, or they might feel that they've won the location and don't need to fill it up with 4 cards, but you can have some surprise power come out late game with your Spectrum buff. So he provides the ongoing effect, but also a little bit of counterplay in terms of what you're trying to fill out a location with, and your opponent maybe not wanting to fill out that location too. Then we have some really strong 2-drops like Armor and also Colossus, as well as Lizard. Now these 3 cards also all carry the ongoing trait, which they'll be able to get the buff from Spectrum later on in the game. They also bring some good power to the board and some utility as well in different matchups. Maybe if you're versing a Destroy deck, you can play out an Armor, which can really foil a lot of their plans before they can kind of get up and running. Colossus can allow you to play in lots of locations without actually losing any power or being destroyed himself, so great utility card there as well. And Lizard provides a really good stat stick on the board, which kind of in a lot of ways can encourage your opponent to need to play into that location as well, which can have some interesting interplay with Mojo, which we just showed before as well. So next up we have Mystique, and Mystique is a phenomenal card. She is played in so many decks these days because of the versatility that she brings in what she can do. Her prime target in this deck for her on reveal ability is Wong. You'd ideally like to play Wong on turn 4, Mystique with another strong 2-drop with an ongoing ability on turn 5, and then double down on all of that with Spectrum on turn 6, where you can slam her on the board and get a ton of power across your ongoing cards for that play. So also at a 3-drop we have Mr. Fantastic, and we also have Captain America. And both of these cards just are really strong ongoing effects which can help out a really wide board and be able to spread power quickly. They also work well when you're flooding a location, and they have those ongoing traits, so they're going to be able to get the buff from Spectrum later on in the game. We then have our 2 key combo pieces being Wong and Spectrum, who need no introduction at all. Finally, in our version of this Wongoing deck, we have Blue Marvel, and Blue Marvel's a really strong card in his own right, especially with the recent buffs. He has an ongoing effect which is going to allow you to receive the buff from Spectrum, but he also provides a board-wide buff of his own. He also fills a really good spot, so if you don't perfectly draw Mystique after Wong, you can play Blue Marvel pretty solid onto the board before actually playing Spectrum on turn 6. So he gives a little bit of utility and flexibility in how you might play out this deck if you don't draw perfectly. That is a wrap on the deck highlight. Let's get into some games and see how we go. Okay, straight off the bat we have Mr. Popo. We've played Mr. Popo a fair few times in our videos in our day, so we know him well here on the channel. We have Bar with no name, so definitely not the ideal location for us here. We might go ahead and pass turn 1, and we'll see what we can do here. I think Mojo is going to be pretty big here in terms of in terms of just getting the ball rolling. We could also hold Mojo and potentially play later, but let's actually go with Lizard and maybe get them starting to play into this location a little bit too. We can always drop Mojo a little later in the game. Depending on how we go, this might be a game where we potentially try and give up. Bar with no name, but we'll see how we go with the rest of our draws. We do have Spectrum in hand, which is kind of good.
I wouldn't do it.
This is our last turn to play Ebony Maw. This kind of defeats the purpose of playing Mojo. This doesn't feel all that much better. It does. We definitely draw a card here, and we go to 15 power. Let's lock this in. We'll see how we go. We have no Wong in hand, so the combo is not going to come off here. And they do discard their Sarah, which was awesome, and the armor came up huge there, blocking the Gambit's on reveal destroy, which is awesome. We have a really awkward turn here, especially with Crimson Cosmos. I think we're gonna have to pass this turn. We don't have a play, so we wait and we draw from Asgard and we see what we get. We do draw into the Wong, which is really nice. I'm just thinking, do we just do this? We might just slam Blue Marvel here. I think. What is Spectrum gonna do for us? We might just have to slam the Blue Marvel here, and we do end up getting the retreat. So I think the combination of the locations here made it kind of awkward for both of us. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, so next game up we have Awesome Empanada, and we're straight into Titan. So actually pretty useful for us with the old Spectrum. We'll go ahead and skip turn 1. No need to play out Ebony Maw so early, I don't think. Okay, so they're playing some sort of discard deck, which is good to know, and they get rid of Magneto, so big card coming back later on for them potentially. Let's go ahead and play Mojo into Titan. The hub gave us Gambit. I don't think he's going to be all that playable this game. I mean, we could do some crazy Exodia things if we do get Mystique, which might be a bit of fun. We do actually get Mystique, so we might actually go for more of a little bit of an Exodia type of play rather than a Spectrum. But we'll just see how it shapes up. But we've got a pretty strong play over here. Kind of ruins what we're doing with Mojo. Actually, let's leave Mojo open and we might be able to do the rest of the combo there. Let's leave Titan open with Mojo there. Yeah, let's do this. So we do actually get Spectrum. So we've got options here. We can do the Exodia with Gambit and get a bunch of procs off. Well, I guess we're only going to be destroying 4 cards. So there's that to consider, but we also have a pretty strong play just over here in general. So I think we're going to steer away from Nidavellir. I think we'll double down with Mystique and we'll I forgot about the Ebony Maw. That's okay. I think we'll still go with this play, and we can decide what we want to do. Hopefully we draw into an Ant-Man. That Ant-Man would kind of be huge. It's got a lot of cards hidden behind Invisible Woman, so this could be pretty wild at the end. They discard Hazmat. Interesting play, and they discard their... Okay, so they do discard their Infinite, so he's probably coming back, or has the potential at least to be coming back. I think we go ahead and make this play and cross our fingers, cross our toes, and we'll see how we go with this one. So we plus 8 to each of our ongoing cards, which is pretty strong buff for the most part. They do come out with the Gambit, which kills our 10 power Wong, which isn't ideal. Hazmat goes off. Magneto goes off, pulls them up to 23 there. Pulls across our Mystique, which actually wins us that lane. No, it loses us that lane with the Infinite coming back, but we do end up sneaking out the win in left and mid locations. That was wild last turn. I knew the Hela was going to do some crazy things with the Invisible Woman, but that was a little bit wild. Awesome game. We'll move on to the next one. Okay, so for this one we have Shadow, and we're going straight into the Space Throne, so not ideal for us. I think out of this deck, our best bet on the Space Throne is probably Ebony Maw, which is not ideal. I think let's go ahead and get Ant-Man out on the board in the middle location. And Iceman hits Mojo, so annoying but not too bad. And then Elysium comes out, so can be able to get lots of cards out on the board here. I don't think we need to rush it though either. All we can do is kind of wait, because they're going to be getting lots of cards out as well. Well, at least more cards than usual. Okay, so the Scorpion's pretty punishing, and the Goose is pretty brutal as well, because if we do draw into the combo now, we don't have a lane to play it in fully, at least the full combo. That's okay though. Let's go ahead and get Mojo. Let's go get Mojo down and Colossus, and we'll start freeing up some space in our hand. Because they're going to Mr. Sinister. Sorry, Mr. Fantastic buffing both sides of the board, which is fine. We do have the Wong and the okay. We do have the Spectrum and the Mystique. We have Blue Marvel, and I really want to play Blue Marvel out. The only place for us to do the combo is here. Can't play Blue Marvel here. Can't only play it here. We might end up giving up the Space Throne. I think that's maybe the play we're going to have to make here. Okay, so they have an Iron Man mid, which is pretty brutal. I mean, we'll see how we go, but it could be a really hard one. So we actually do end up drawing into the Wong, which is pretty huge for us. And he's going to... I think just getting Mystique out on the board is fine. Because she's going to copy this ongoing effect, so she'll get an ongoing effect to be buffed by Spectrum. So I think that's fine. I'm just thinking what else we would draw into that would make her be able to play next turn, but I think we're going to play whatever we draw into next turn as well. So let's go ahead and go with the Mystique there to copy Wong. It also gives us it also just gives us a bit of flexibility in terms of what we're doing next turn. So they have the Mystique as well onto Titan, which is rough. I'm not gonna lie, that is rough. So we can play Lizard and we'll play Spectrum, and we'll cross our fingers and hope that what we're doing here is good enough for the win. I'm assuming they play a card into left lane, but it actually makes it quite awkward for them. They're not able to play a big card into right lane because of their Goose. So we do end up sneaking out the victory. I don't know how deserved that one was, but we kind of made the best of a awkward situation. So let's get on to the next one. So we do queue back into Awesome Empanada, and they were playing a like a Hela Invisible Woman discard deck before. So we'll see if they're still playing that one. Titan comes up, so actually pretty good for us with Spectrum. Let's go ahead and skip turn 1. And then we go into Atlantis, so it's probably not ideal for us because we're going to be stacking lots of cards on location. So I think that's like this is kind of interesting. Let's just go ahead and play Lizard in there, kind of make them play more than one card there if they want to take the buff off Lizard. And they play their Invisible Woman left, so combo's probably coming out in the left lane for them. I'm thinking Mr. Fantastic here. I don't think there's any need for us to kind of play out Ebony more at this stage, and we do have Wong in hand, which is great for next turn. Hopefully we can pull that Spectrum before the end of the game. Let's go ahead and lock in Mr. Fantastic, give us a little bit more of a buff across the board. Okay, so we only have 2 cards, which is pretty brutal. And they discard their Lady Sif. Let's go ahead and play Wong into right lane, into Hell's Kitchen. Not ideal because there's an Ant-Man there. This actually might be one of their weaker locations. So let's actually play Wong over there. And we still do not have a Spectrum, which does make this awkward. I think we need to try and win this location here. We'll keep the Ant-Man for Spectrum. Does that feel weird? Surely they're going to pull something back here with Hela. Feels strange. But I don't think we... Let's go with this. Let's go with this. I'm not sure that this is going to work, but we'll see. Okay, so they pull our combo all the way to mid, which is definitely not ideal for us. We do not draw the the Spectrum, which makes this probably even more awkward for us. Let's go ahead and lock this in. I don't know if this is going to be good enough for the win, but it's kind of the best we got at the moment. They do discard the Infinite at the end there. So we're up by a very small amount in a few locations. They're definitely going to win hard in left. And if that is a Hela, we are in trouble. It's not, it's a Dracula. I really thought it was going to be a Hela. So he actually ends up smoking us in left lane, but we do sneak out the win. I was sure that was going to be a Hela, but we do sneak out the win, playing kind of to our outs we had there, and ended up coming up with the dub, so good one. Let's move on to the next. Okay, so for this one we have our good friend Batman back up again, and we get Sokovia, which discards our Mystique, so no ultimate combo this game, but we'll see if we can still make it work with what we've got. And looks like they're potentially running some sort of destroy deck. Okay, so we do draw into Spectrum, which is good. Let's see if we can draw into Wong as well. Wouldn't mind a Mojo for this middle location. We can kind of fill it up. A Savage Land, definitely not ideal. Probably looking at doing the combo in the right or the left lane. Not certain just yet, but is this going to be better to win us mid? I think it gives us a little bit more flexibility in terms of what we're doing. Let's go ahead and do this. So they come down with the electrode. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. So they're going to be ramping into something pretty quickly here. This is actually a pretty strong play. Gives us a really good amount of power on the board. Probably something they're not going to expect. Well, I mean, they are all ongoing cards, which is makes it blatantly obvious what we're playing, but potentially, so they ramp into just into Deathlock and then destroy Electro. That seems it's a little bit wasteful. Let's go ahead and play this. I don't. We can, yeah. We'll have some Spectrum in hand. Maybe we play it right. Maybe we play it left. I think this gives us more options of what to do. So they have Nova, Wolverine, and Killmonger, which is going to hit us pretty hard, especially with the Ant-Man there. They do get a fair bit of power across the board with that play. We have all ongoing cards out at the moment, so I think we have to try and double down and get mid. So I'm going to play Spectrum into mid. They could have a death here, which would be pretty huge for them. They have the Deadpool and the Demon, which is not going to be quite enough for the play. So with the Baxter building, we're able to win all 3 locations. Awesome, we'll go to the next. Okay, so next up we have Jared, and we're moving straight into the Raft, which is pretty decent for us. We're able to flood the board pretty early, so let's go ahead and try and get this by turn 3. I think we should be able to do it. We'll go Mojo maybe to stop them playing into it as well. We'll see. Mojo is a really good card into the Raft. Just sets you up to get a big boost or to win the Raft. So they've got Medusa, so specifically playing Medusa outside of mid, so that's great. We have a really strong play here with 10 extra power being added to the board, and we just lose with Sokovia, so we're going to have to wait until turn 4 to get this one. Hopefully they aren't able to finish it off, and they do, which is really unfortunate. That Sokovia did us dirty like that, but we are going to be able to win this one with, I think, just a Captain America. Do we even need to put Captain America there? We're going to get the buff from Mojo, so I think even the armor is fine there. Even with Mr. Fantastic. Let's go Cap mid. See what we draw on 5 as well. They have no turn 4 play, which is interesting. Let's go ahead and lock in these 2 plays. Gives us a bit of flexibility of what to play over here as well. Puts a bit of pressure on them in mid as we're winning the Raft straight up. So they do have the Hobgoblin, which is actually pretty huge. We do not get a Spectrum, which does kind of suck. So we're going to go to equal, go to 0 here. It's a shame we didn't draw a Spectrum here. We would have been able to really wrap things up. So we might actually still end up losing this one. So do end up playing a lot of cards out on the board. Have the blue Marvel. It's a great buff. That leader, which is going to play a Lizard. So yeah, the leader play was really, really strong that they got from the Raft. Massive Raft play there. Unfortunate that we didn't get the Raft, but sometimes Sokovia does that to you. Alright, we'll go to the next. Cool, so for this one we have Enthrall. And straight into Grand Central, so interesting. Probably going to pull an ongoing card, which is usually pretty good, as long as it's not like some random Mystique that we don't want to do. Should be okay. Transform into one of the other locations, so we could end up getting lots of cards pulled here. let's go and play. Let's actually, with that, let's actually play Mojo, because they're going to be at least getting one card there. Cool Bucky Barnes variant. Love to see it. And the peak. So, actually, I haven't even thought about the peak with this deck. Unfortunate that we miss Mystique with it, but the rest really don't get affected too much. Let's go ahead and play out what we do have in our hand, at least for the moment. We could actually get a double up on the peak here, which could flip our Mystique, which might be nice. We'll see. So we do get a double up on the peak, and we flip Mystique, which is awesome. We just need Wong, and we can get Wong next turn as well. So I think we do. Let's go ahead and play. Let's go ahead and play Cap in left lane. Probably going to be destroying something in mid, and they do kill our Ant-Man, which is a bit of a shame. We're about to cap out that location, but that's fine. We're gonna have some good power, 11 power in mid, which is pretty big. So I think we only have this play, which is going to be. Let's actually avoid mid. So we're going to get +2 on everything. Actually, it doesn't matter where Spectrum goes if she gets pulled. Let's go ahead and make this play, and we'll see how we go. They play a lot of cards. They might have got a really good benefit for having the peak. We'll have to wait and see. So we double down on the buff. Oh, it's actually Mysterio, so not too bad there. They end up only destroying their own Electra, which is kind of fine for us. Angel comes out on the board for them, which is completely fine. I don't really know where the real Mysterio is. I'm going to guess that it's not mid. We're going to get a triple buff in left, and they've got to be scared of that Mojo. So I'm going to play in a right location, and we'll lock it in. We'll see how we go. I think they won't want to play too heavy into Mojo, because we might. Okay, so they play into left and right. We have a 6 power death, which got inverted, so they do copy it. That would have been a huge play if it didn't get inverted by the peak, so very fortunate for us there. And we do sneak out the win by 1 power in right lane. We had a whole bunch of power in left lane. They had us in mid. The Mysterio did end up being in right lane, but the inversion from the peak onto their death, and which ultimately was copied by the Taskmaster, was actually our saving grace in that game. So a very interesting one to play that one out. So we'll get out of here now. So that would just about do us for our version of the Wongoing deck. Really fun deck to play, especially when you can get that combo off. It's great to see Spectrum kind of just constantly animating, and your board just getting buffed and buffed and buffed. Lots of surprise factor in that, in terms of when you're versing the opponent and then you kind of blow them out of the order at the end. So a really awesome deck, especially when you can get those combos off. There is a really high roll version of the deck where you can add Magic or Wave in, and an Onslaught in there to double down on that as well, with Mystique copying that effect instead. Unfortunately, I don't have Magic, and I didn't have a lot of success actually playing out that combo with Wave, so I've stuck with this version of the deck, which seems to be a lot more consistent for me. I've also was able to win lots of games outside of the combo going off, which shows, probably really feeds into its consistency just as a deck in general. Across the course of recording this video, I was able to go 8-3, which is pretty good. Definitely pretty consistent deck and something you're going to be able to use to climb the ladder. At most ranks, there are some counters in there and some cards like Rogue, which are really going to destroy you. But for the most part, I think the deck is consistent enough as a whole and has lots of counter and interplay between other decks that are currently roaming the meta at the moment. So thank you so much for watching our video. Really hope you enjoyed it. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And until the next one, we'll see you then.